Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you for coming to watch. So, I've got you guys an update on some pretty active stretches of storm systems that are really going to start to get going across the United States really tomorrow, where we have that big severe weather outbreak that's expected to take place across the Texarkana region. We're talking about big tornadoes, very violent tornadoes. We have a 10% hatched risk for tornadoes up. I apologize about switching computers. This is my backup computer. My mom's computer is the one that I use. She actually is using it for work right now, so this is what I'm on now. So it may be a little glitch here, so I apologize about that. But I'm back again with you guys to give you guys an update on some things here. We can already see a lot of storm action starting to unfold really across the central U.S. It's looking like this severe threat actually may come earlier, and this actually may come tomorrow morning. So watch out early afternoon for these storm systems. But right now what we've got is you can see a big chunk of the central U.S. is really coated in this big system right now. Um, we're just watching a lot of rainfall really spreading into portions of Nebraska, South Dakota, down towards Kansas City, Missouri, and then all of Arkansas and Memphis, Tennessee. All right, we don't see much snow. Although if you're out in the if you're out near the mountainous regions out in the western U.S., you may be dealing with some snow flurries out there, but really, it's going to be mostly rainfall for this system until it gets into the northeast, where we'll actually be cold enough to see some snow, and this will actually change over to snow and actually rain and some ice as well. So we'll move on to our alerts here in a second. So taking a look at our alerts, we can see we're not very busy right now. We can see that for the most part in the west, we do have some wind advisories. You can see out here in Nevada into California, mainly southeastern California, excuse me. We have those wind advisories. High wind warning actually going out for portions of northwestern Utah. We really got to make sure that we're aware that we're going to be experiencing some very strong winds. I know a few updates ago, I showed you guys that this same high wind warning or high wind watch was out for portions of Utah. Well, here it is. It's still out today, so we're still probably going to be gusting to up to 65, 70 miles per hour potentially, which is nearing hurricane force winds. But I think during the nighttime hours, those winds will slightly diminish, and then we'll get right back up again as we get into tomorrow. So just make sure that you're aware that there will be some hazardous conditions out there. Some winter storm warnings going up here for portions of Utah. These winter weather advisories changed. They got upgraded to winter storm warnings, and then some counties out here are dotted across the western U.S. in that winter weather advisory. So pretty much the rest of the country looks pretty calm for the most part. So we'll go over to the NAM 3 cam model for the south central U.S. So guys, I mean, this is going to be one of those big outbreaks that we were worrying about for this fall. It's coming up, and it's not looking good for the Texarkana region. So I'm going to give you guys an update on just exactly what we can expect and how strong these storms will actually be. So taking a look here at the NAM 3 cam model, this is the latest 18Z the 18Z model run that came out. All right, so this was starting out at 2 p.m. today. What we had going on is we had that same low pressure that's going to get everything started in those developing thunderstorms off to New Mexico that we talked about forming yesterday. Well, here they did form today. That's going to get your head start, your kickstart on these storms firing across the region that's got more energy and just more moisture. All right, and so notice how these storms, they continue moving across New Mexico. They enter Texas, and that same low pressure system, it's still with us. Okay, on the backside, you've got high pressure. It's trying to kick this out of the way, as well as some cold air. You could definitely see that those temperatures are they're certainly below average, and that's also going to be signified with that snow. All right, you can see that we do actually appear to have some snowfall right here into portions of Colorado. I would say this is probably going to be mainly to the west, or to the west of the Rockies. Here we could see some pretty enhanced snowfall right here. All right, I think that this definitely will come into play with this system because you see that this isn't that much snow. I mean, it's definitely heavy in portions over portions of the Rockies, obviously because it's the mountainous regions. But I think that we're gonna get some dry and cold and chilly air behind this. I think that snowfall isn't really gonna last long, and the only places that are really gonna see that much snow are up there in Colorado. But that's not our main focus today. Our main focus is our severe weather outbreaks. So starting out here, this is pretty much where our explosive storms begin. So we're getting into this is 5 a.m. This is 5 a.m. today actually. So sorry about that. We're actually looking at the wrong model run. Sorry, I thought we were looking at the. Here, let me 1 second, guys. Apologize for that. All right, here we go. So we're actually looking at the OZ from today. This is from today. So when our explosive storms are starting? Well, this was 7 a.m. today, and these storms, they moved across New Mexico, as I explained, and then they pretty much, as we woke up in the morning, this is the picture that we had. We had some strong to severe storms moving through Kansas. Okay, we did not see any severe thunderstorm watches, as far as I know, today. But watch as this storm continues to develop as we get later throughout this afternoon. It's still not quite in that environment that is healthy enough to support tornadoes and thunderstorm buildup. So that's why we don't see that much, energy and explosiveness from the system. And really, the main convection starts to build as late as 2 a.m. in the morning. So we're getting to tonight, and this is tonight into tomorrow, 2 a.m. tomorrow. Notice these little supercells starting to form right here by that low pressure signature, okay? And usually what happens here is when you get this typical severe weather setup, what you'll see is that line of severe storms. It'll be usually just to the south or to the southeast of that low pressure signature. Sometimes it will curve and tail all the way down towards where it's to the southwest of that low pressure signature. That's really when it's more organized. Today, it's probably going to get pretty organized. Well, I should say tomorrow. But we're getting to 2 p.m. tomorrow. This is probably when you guys are, worrying the most about explosive thunderstorms because we're in the afternoon, daytime hours, and it's supposed to be warmer. Well, it doesn't look that bad for 2 p.m. It looks like the tornado threat actually could be shifted farther east. I really do think that, but we actually do have discrete supercells right here. Every single one of these storm systems has a chance to become a supercell, and some of these will actually turn out to be supercells. The storm system is starting to take shape. It's not looking that strong, obviously, because, other than the severe thunderstorms down here, the rest of it is just snow flurries up to the northwest or just rain showers. But when do these storms really turn severe and destructive? Well, this is really when 5 p.m. Tomorrow evening. So around the dinner time area, or dinner time frame, I should say. Unfortunately, it's going to be getting dark, so we're going to be dealing with nighttime tornado. That's going to be a big problem. So when you are in a situation where you have nighttime tornadoes and you can't really see what's going on outside, you always, even when you can see what's going on outside, you always want to make sure that you have the news, the weather, or the weather radio on at all times when you're in this crucial situation, especially when it's right around that time when the storms are supposed to hit, because then you can be alerted and you can know ahead of time when that storm is supposed to arrive to your neighborhood, okay? But we can really see two lines of severe thunderstorms ranging really from the Arkansas and Mississippi border right here, going all the way up towards portions of Tennessee into the Bootheel, Missouri. But it looks like the most explosive thunderstorms to me are really going to be anywhere from where my mouse is right here, all right, from the three states corner of Tennessee, Mississippi, and then the border of Arkansas, all the way down towards really the Texarkana area into wet portions of western Louisiana. That's where I think that highest tornado threat will be. So if you find yourself anywhere near any of these pockets of what looks like heavy rainfall, that's usually a sign that you can take away that you have a pretty good shot at seeing a tornadic supercell. Because I think really a lot of these storms will be rotating. All right. So you just want to make sure that you're really staying weather aware tomorrow. But these storms, these tornadic storms, continue to 6 p.m. We're still 6 p.m. We still got very explosive storms. Look at this, starting to form. We're starting to get a little bit of a frontal boundary here, so that tornado threat's slightly dying off. All right, but the supercells are still very strong. And look at this on the front side, which is very uncommon. We actually see some rebirthing, some more. I wouldn't say rebirthing because I don't know if that's the word, but some regenerating of these supercells on the front side. Usually, when this happens on the back side of a storm, but no, in this case, this happens on the front side. That shows you how supportive this environment is for thunderstorm buildup and tornadoes, even right in front of this into Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee. So that's going to also show a reason of why these storms could actually continue being severe into the southeast. So we'll flip over to the Southeastern U.S. to get a better look at things here. All right. But you can see we're getting to 9. This is 9 p.m. Into Tuesday. All right. So we're actually, 1 second, guys. So yeah, this is 9 p.m. So this is 9 p.m. actually Monday. Sorry, 9 p.m. Monday. Okay, and we have still some very explosive storms really starting to get through now southwestern Tennessee into northern central and portions of western Mississippi. All right, but when does this damaging wind threat increase? That's something that I know a lot of you guys are probably going to want to know, because we're not only going to be dealing with tornadoes, we're also going to be dealing with damaging winds and hail. All right, so these thunderstorms, they join into a line here, and they form that frontal line of damaging wind gusts here, that straight line winds. Okay, that's really going to impact really around the middle of the night. But I think that this, according to the NAM 3 model, looks like these storms could actually be more. They could have that stronger wind component to them a little bit earlier. So maybe aiming towards 10, 11 p.m. rather than 12 to 1 in the morning. All right, so it's going to be a lot to figure out. All right. But this damaging wind gust threat, luckily, is going to be Monday to Tuesday. So that means, and I'm saying luckily because that means we have an extra few hours to really figure this out completely. Because I really want to, I'm strongly supervising this storm system here, and I really just want to make sure that everybody in this region is aware of how dangerous this situation is, because fall tornadoes do not mess around. I tell you guys that from not personal experience, but just past experience of these outbreaks in the southeast. It's not fun. Okay, but when does this damaging wind threat continue to move on? Well, we're still into 2 p.m., and these are just regular severe storms that have that damaging wind gust component to them. They're definitely not looking as strong. So at this point, you're probably talking the stronger winds being gusts up to 50 to 60. All right, that's a typical severe warned storm. All right, so at this point, we definitely are dying down, but the line finally breaks up. Really, 8. We're getting to 7 a.m. Wow, this almost really 7 a.m. You could say 7 a.m. Wednesday, I guess. I'm not sure. This is the 21st. All right, so 7 a.m. Tuesday. So yeah, Monday to Tuesday is when that damaging wind gust threat will really increase, and then this is Tuesday right here. So I had a little trouble with understanding the time frames there, so I apologize about that. But you could replay the video. Your timestamps are up here, 7 a.m. The 21st, which is Tuesday. This is going to be your ending picture here. You've still got that slight line of storms with some broken off storms up to the north, but man, is this going to be a big and dangerous outbreak. So we move on to the Storm Prediction Center. All right, this is why I'm saying that this is going to be an outbreak. I'll tell you guys why in a minute. So currently we have an enhanced risk, which is a level 3 out of 5 risk for severe weather. This is going out for portions of western Mississippi into northern and central Louisiana, okay? And for those of you that are new to the channel and have not really seen this graphic before, this is just showing the percentages of severe weather for a given location based off of the weather forecasters at the Storm Prediction Center. All right. So for that enhanced risk, the biggest risk for severe weather that we have, with a total population of pretty much 1.8 million people. All right, we've got some cities including Jackson, Mississippi, Monroe, Louisiana, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Alexandria, Louisiana, and Vicksburg, Mississippi. All of you guys are in that enhanced risk. That means that you've got to be prepared and ready for the worst case scenarios, which is really either a very strong and severe, definitely severe thunderstorm to move through your area, bringing large hail and damaging winds, or what even worse would be a strong tornado move through your area. All right, don't be scared. Be prepared. I know this sounds very, very scary, and definitely you don't want to. You really, it doesn't sound very pleasant, but you can definitely get through these events in such a an easier way than if you freaked out and you kind of you're not thinking straight. It's a lot easier to stay calm and just realize the situation that you're in, but also at the same time just stay ahead of the time and make sure that you're always prepared. All right, that's how you can stay safe during these events. But anyways, we can see a very slight part of eastern Texas. I mean, I can't even really see exactly what I can I don't know what cities are out here, but there's a slight part of eastern Texas. If you're in the middle portion of the Texas and Louisiana borderline here, like you know what I mean, right here by where that enhanced risk ends, that's definitely going to be an area that I think will mainly have I think you guys will mainly have a tornado threat and a large hail threat, just because the tornado threat's probably going to be up first, then the damaging wind gust threat, which is off to the east. All right, but that slight risk is for the surrounding areas. And by the way, guys, this was actually posted by the Storm Prediction Center. This update this morning, but they extended the slight risk farther out to reaching out to areas farther northwest and south. So that's including now the Gulf Coast of Louisiana, including New Orleans. Okay, we can see portions of the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, areas farther east, farther to the west of into Texas here. Now we can see Lufkin, Texas. You guys are in that risk. We've got New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, Mobile, Alabama, and Medellin, Louisiana. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but please correct me in the comments if you know how to pronounce that. We got Greenville, Mississippi, also in that slight risk. All right, this is going into portions farther into northern and central Mississippi, and then southern Arkansas. But yeah, we just got to make sure that we're aware that even those areas in the slight risk, which is the level 2 out of 5 risk, still has a good shot at seeing at least a strong thunderstorm. Okay, so it doesn't take a thunderstorm to be severe to be life threatening, because all thunderstorms contain lightning. These thunderstorms will most likely be strong enough to contain cloud to ground lightning. Even small hail can be considered not severe, so that can. I mean, really, it's just a matter of everybody who knows how to stay ahead of the situation. All right, but for the surrounding areas of that slight risk, you've got a marginal risk extending a little bit farther out to areas into Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, farther into Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. So, for me personally, I would extend that slight risk farther out. And I'd actually put that enhanced risk closer to Alabama. I think I put it in an area that would put Jackson right in the middle. I think I would put it like right here. If you agree with me, then definitely you could, I don't know, you could write it in the comments. But yeah, I would definitely consider doing that myself, but I'm not a forecaster at the Storm Prediction Center. So we look at tornado threat. All right, this is where we get the idea of a tornado outbreak. We've got a 10% hatched risk, guys. A 10% hatched risk. That's when you see that. Okay, that tells you it's a very rare day for tornadoes, because you very rarely see up to a 10% risk for tornadoes, especially though with a hatch risk. That means a significant severe. Look at that, significant severe risk for tornadoes here. This is right in that same area of that enhanced risk. We got Jackson, Mississippi, Monroe, Louisiana, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Alexandria, Louisiana, and Vicksburg, Mississippi. All of you guys are in that 10% hatch risk. Okay, so we really got to make sure that we're staying aware of this. And when we made a 10% hatch risk, I'll show you guys. Well, actually, we'll look at this at the end of this portion of the update. But a 10% hatch risk means a few damaging tornadoes possible. Damaging meaning EF2 plus, really, in their rating. But the slight risk, which is the surrounding areas, that you got the 5% risk and 2% for that marginal risk area. So damaging wind threat, we're up to a 30% risk. It's not common, but it's not uncommon to see a 38% damaging wind gust threat. 45 is really the big problem, but that we won't get up to, I don't think. But notice how it's farther to the east. All right, that's pointing out that area where we start to see that line of thunderstorms start, that frontal line where you get the damaging wind gust line. That's going to form later, and the storm will be farther to the east. So that's why that 30% risk is not in that same area of that enhanced risk. That's including Jackson, Mississippi, Vicksburg, Mississippi, Clinton, Mississippi, Pearl, Mississippi, and Ridgeland, Mississippi. All of you guys are going to be in that 30% risk for damaging wind gusts, which is 50 knots or higher within 25 miles of a point. All right, you've got 15% risk for the surrounding areas, really that slight risk area, and then 5% for those other surrounding areas. Damaging hail threat, 15% chance. I don't think we're going to see the biggest of hail. All right, we're not up to a 30% risk, which is good. That means that we're not going to see widespread, multi-inch in diameter hail, but we do have that 15% risk for that general area of that slight to enhanced risk for severe weather, and then the surrounding areas are in that 5% risk. All right, so let's go down here to where we see our summary here. All right, this is posted from the Storm Prediction Center. We have severe thunderstorms that are likely Monday afternoon into Monday night, which I would extend that to very early Tuesday morning from East Texas into parts of the lower Mississippi Valley and Southeast. Damaging winds and several tornadoes, a few which may be strong, will be the primary hazards. Very rarely do you see tornadoes as the primary hazard. That's usually the least common. Well, today or tomorrow, I think that's actually going to be the most common threat. All right. However, some large hail is also possible. All right. So, that's what the professionals are saying. They're saying a few strong tornadoes is possible, and it's all threats are possible. All hazards are definitely on the horizon here. So we go over to the GFS model for our upper level jet. So this is going to be one of those big driving. It's going to be this driving pattern that the storm system is going to be. It's going to be riding this jet stream. Okay, so this is your upper level jet. Okay, and notice how your Pacific jet stream it's amplified here. This is really getting going. But you could definitely see some very strong winds up in the atmosphere. All right, and that's certainly going to cause some very, when you get frequently changing wind speeds and directions. All right, that's going to lead to some rotation, and that rotation basically comes with tornadoes. All right, but we can see that we got a big dip in the jet stream here, and then it's starting to fold over and flatten out into portions of Texas, and it gets very strong here. It's kind of amplified, if you want to put it that way. But notice how this completely bends over. All right, this completely starts to shoot down, and then it comes right up here through Texas and Louisiana and Arkansas. That's that same exact area we're worrying about for tornadoes. We've got a very strong pull, pulling it right up here. That's really the driving pattern, if you will. All right. But when you see a very tight and dramatic pull in that jet stream, that's where you can definitely get a severe weather threat. You can see a lot of broad and very sharp rotation right around the center of that low pressure. All right, and so that's just it's a prime characteristic for the severe weather event. That jet stream pattern kind of falls apart after the storm system, but that's that. I mean, that's definitely a driving pattern right there, ladies and gentlemen. That is one of many actually driving patterns, because you also do have a lot of moisture and a lot of cape that's building in the atmosphere, waiting in front of that system for it to come through, and it's going to really just ignite those thunderstorms to explode. All right, so we move on from our severe weather outbreak. Okay, now we talk about what could be happening in the future. So we've been watching a big threat for some big snowstorms and some big storm systems in general that will track across the United States, mainly the central United States. Well, starting out here with our 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, this is going out for November 25th to the 29th. Okay, we can see that we have currently a 60 to 70 we actually have a 70 to 80% chance of below average temperatures going out for the central U.S. This is going down from southeastern Wyoming down towards northern Texas and western Oklahoma. All right, that's a pretty big area, and a pretty big risk for below average temperatures. And really, everybody's going to be below average. So that's going to signify potentially a pretty big Arctic blast. Maybe not as strong, but definitely more dominant, meaning that it's gonna engulf a bigger area than a stronger and smaller one would. But Florida down here by the peninsula, you're hanging on to above average temperatures, but everybody else is gonna get a pretty major cool down here, and so we'll talk about how that's going to affect our weather as we get into next week. All right, so taking a look here at the latest, this is the 18Z GFS that came out. All right, here comes your first system. This is your severe weather event moving right through the southeast. All right, that moves into the northeast, and you get a lot of snow building up on the north side. Look at this Arctic plunge here, really getting down into portions of Missouri, and on the front side in upstate New York, you get a little boundary of some cooler temperatures that will lead to some snowfall. All right, heavy rain and strong winds for pretty much the entire eastern seaboard. But really, New Jersey, Delmarva area, watch out for some flooding rainfall. That's certainly possible, especially if you're closer to the coast. All right, but this ridge completely flattens out here in the central U.S., and that's going to be pretty. That's going to lead to some pretty boring weather. But that is not going to last long, because here we go. Here comes your Arctic plunge, and a piece of energy starts to fly around out there. That is definitely going to be the recipe for another storm system. But here comes a little Gulf storm system and a piece of energy from the Gulf. If these two storm systems can join together, I think that's where we could get the key for a pretty major system, but they don't really do that. That piece of energy that's bringing snowfall, well, it continues with that Arctic blast, and it brings snow farther south. All right, but it almost brings snow to Texas, and it does actually bring a decent amount of snow to Texas, and then that same Gulf system eventually rides up the coast and brings some snow to the northeast and a lot of heavy rainfall and a lot of strong winds to the coast. All right, that's looking like a potential big system, because the GFS has been consistently saying that could actually happen in the future. All right, that would happen anywhere around the 25th to the 26th. We'll stop the GFS here, taking a look at that same time frame of where we saw the risk for below average temperatures. Well, here we can see a pretty extensive Arctic blast, but not strong. We see that high pressure, not stationary. It's 1,029 millibars, but that's a pretty big area that's seeing cold and below average temperatures out there in the northern U.S. and then dipping down to the central U.S. All right, and then here comes a little bit of a clipper system moving right across the Great Lakes, bringing some lake effect snow. If let's say this is farther south, okay, this actually gets positioned farther south, and it does come through the north, that could bring snow to our folks out here into Virginia, and then the mountains here into Pennsylvania, New Jersey, maybe even to southern New England. We could get a lot of people could get our first snowfall of the year, and it does bring some scattered flurries out there. as well as this deep Arctic plunge that gets all the way down to North Carolina. So, looks like we could be active with our temperature swings. All right. But another system starts to move over the eastern seaboard, brings some snow to Long Island, southern New England. I mean, this is very far out, so this is definitely going to change. But the reason I'm getting so specific is just because I'm just talking about what the latest model run trend is. But here comes another system. This is December 2nd. Okay, we get a pretty good Arctic plunge, and then a storm system that's riding the jet stream there. All right, it's not that strong, but it's not that weak. And it's pretty simple. It's rain and very heavy rain on the south side, localized near that low pressure. And on the north side, you get snow, and it brings snow to the northeast. And it looks like based off this run of the GFS, which is, by the way, 330 hours out, actually shows snow for New York City, all of southern New England, Pennsylvania, and northern New Jersey. And it looks like it'll stay all snow. I mean, we get to 1 p.m., which, this is all the way into December, but it changes back to rain. But, that is the latest 18G GFS for your storm systems. And we look at, for the last part of the update, just the latest projected snowfall totals going out to December 5th. Okay, we can see a lot of the snowfall shifting now to the east. We saw the west really getting in a lot of snowfall. You're still seeing a lot of, a few, maybe up to 2 feet of snow for those mountainous regions, but widespread, 2 to 5 inches of snow for the central U.S. And then getting down to Texas, maybe 6-7 inches of snow in Texas. I mean, northern Texas, really, but that is pretty ridiculous. But GFS now has been consistently hinting that we could actually get an early season snowstorm in northern Texas. You never know, but a good stripe of multiple inches of snow showing up here across the Ohio Valley into the Midwest and then the Northeast, getting a few inches of snow. Wow, look at this. Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont all seeing multiple feet of snow. New Jersey, all of southern New England getting at least, 3-4 inches of snow. So a lot of areas are going to be seeing a lot of above average snowfall for this time of the year. I think it's going to get quite active even after this big storm system moves through. We just got to continue watching the trends and see what happens. So thank you all for coming to watch this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe out there with that big severe weather event. Don't be scared. Be prepared. Make sure that you're aware of any rotating supercells or thunderstorms that move through your area. And as always, I'll keep you guys posted and updated on whatever happens weather-wise across the nation. So thank you all for coming to watch. I'll see you guys in the next video.